You know how some places just buzz with history? Like every corner you turn, there's something ancient, but it's still alive. So got that modern pulse.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the feeling I get when we talk about Iran. And that's exactly what we're diving into today, Iran, as a travel experience.
Right.
Think of this as your quick guide to why this country really grabs people. We've got this great source. It's like a virtual window into Iran, really.
Mm-hmm.
And our mission basically is to pull out the best bits, the most compelling reasons to visit. Maybe you're actually planning a trip, or maybe you're just curious,
Sure.
From those huge ancient empires carved in stone to, wow, architecture that just blows you away, markets full of life, amazing landscapes, deserts, oases. This source covers it all.
It really does paint a broad picture.
So let's unpack it.
Mm-hmm.
What are the key things that make Iran, such an interesting place to think about visiting?
Well, what's really interesting from this source is how it shows Iran appealing to so many different kinds of travelers. It's not just history or just culture. It's this blend deep history, yeah, but also rich culture, amazing natural beauty, and then there's that famous Iranian hospitality everyone talks about.
That hospitality comes up a lot, doesn't it?
It really does. And the source makes a point about the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. 24 of them. It's a serious number. It tells you something about its global significance.
24, wow.
Yeah. And beyond the official sites, it's that warmth, the welcoming nature of the people. That seems to be a constant theme. Add in, amazing food, diverse scenery.
Just got a bit of everything.
Pretty much. The source specifically calls out places like Persepolis, for the history buffs. Then the incredible architecture in Isfahan and Shiraz, the busy bazaars in Tehran and Tabriz, even ski resorts and beaches on Kish Island.
Ski resorts. Okay, that's surprising.
Right. And always that hospitality. It really gives you a sense of a place with incredibly broad appeal.
It sounds it. But with so much variety, it might feel a bit overwhelming if you're just starting to think about it. Where do you even begin?
Good point.
Our source kicks things off with Tehran, the capital, calls it a mix of modern and traditional. How does that actually, play out on the ground?
Well, Tehran, as the capital, is naturally a main entry point, right? And it really does kind of capture that dynamic feel of the country. It's not just like old buildings next to new ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's woven together. The source highlights spots that show this perfectly. Like Golestan Palace, that's a UNESCO site. Bam, you're right into this opulent Persian royal history.
Okay.
Then you got the National Museum. That gives you the whole sweep, pre-Islamic, Islamic era's essential background, really.
Right, context.
Exactly. But then jump to the Malad Tower for these huge panoramic views of this massive modern city.
Yeah.
Gives you a sense of scale.
Yeah.
And holding it all together, kind of, is the Grand Bazaar. It's this buzzing traditional hub, old crafts, modern hustle that all happens there. It's a city where you really see the layers,
Yeah.
History living alongside today.
Okay, so Tehran gives you that mix. Then the source takes us south to Isfahan. It calls it the jewel of Persian architecture, even half of the world. Those are pretty big claims.
They are. But honestly, from everything you read, Isfahan lives up to it. Half of the world that points to its history, its influence, and you still feel that grandeur.
So what's the must-see there?
Definitely not Jahan Square. You have to understand, it's one of the biggest public squares in the world. That scale tells you about its historical role, civic life, trade, religion, all centered there.
Wow.
And around the square, you have these absolute masterpieces. The Shah Mosque, Sheikh Lotfallah Mosque. The source mentions the dazzling domes, the tile work.
The blue tiles.
Exactly, that incredible, intricate blue tile work. They're not just buildings. They're like pinnacles of Islamic art. Then there's the Sio Sapol Bridge. More than just a bridge, it's a place people gather, especially in the evening. Beautiful Safavid era design, too, with clever water features built in.
Huh, interesting.
And right there, connected, is the Bazaar of Isfahan. Again, more than just shopping, it's like a living historical zone. Crafts, commerce, it's all still happening.
It sounds incredible. Okay, next stop on our virtual trip, Shiraz. City of Poets and Roses. That sounds lovely.
It really does have that reputation.
And it's near Persepolis. Now, if someone's been to, say, Machu Picchu or Angkor Wat, these huge ancient sites, what's Persepolis like in comparison?
That's a great comparison. Shiraz itself has this lovely sort of literary romantic feel.
Yeah.
Hafez the poet is huge there. But yeah, Persepolis is the big draw nearby for history lovers.
Right.
If you felt that awe at Machu Picchu or Angkor, Persepolis gives you a similar feeling, stepping back into a powerful empire. It was the ceremonial capital of the Achaemenids over 2,000 years ago.
Wow.
What you see is this very deliberate monumental architecture. Intricate carvings showing people from all over the empire bringing tribute. It was designed to impress, to show the empire's reach and organization, which actually was surprisingly tolerant for its time and how it managed different peoples.
That's fascinating. And back in Shiraz itself.
Oh, you absolutely have to see the Nasir al-Mulk Mosque. People call it the Pink Mosque, the stained glass. In the morning light, it creates this incredible kaleidoscope effect. Just stunning.
I think I've seen photos of that.
Probably. And Iram Garden, a perfect example of the Persian garden idea. Paradise on earth, basically.
Yeah.
Tranquil, beautiful, very structured design. And Hafez's tomb isn't just a monument. People still go there, recite poetry. It's a living cultural spot.
From Shiraz's elegance, we then shift to Yazd, the desert city famous for its wind catchers. That image is pretty iconic, isn't it? That unique architecture against the desert.
Yeah.
How did those wind catchers actually work?
Yazd is amazing. It's all about adapting to that harsh desert environment and adds this deep Zoroastrian history, too. The wind catchers, they're called badgers, are just genius, really.
Yeah.
They're basically natural air conditioners designed to grab any little breeze, channel it down, and cool the air inside the buildings, using water evaporation sometimes, too.
Yeah.
It's a passive system that let people live comfortably in that heat for centuries.
Incredible ingenuity.
Totally. And you see other landmarks like the Amir Chakma complex, very striking visually. The Towers of Silence are quite something, too. They show the old Zoroastrian burial practices, though they aren't used now.
Right, different cultural views on death.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the Yazd Atash Baram, the Zoroastrian fire temple, supposedly has a flame that's been burning for, centuries.
Yeah.
Hugely important for Zoroastrians. The whole old city is a UNESCO site, too. Amazing mud brick architecture, just perfectly suited to the desert. It feels ancient but lived in.
Our journey then takes us to Kashan. The source calls it a lovely stop between Tehran and Isfahan, known for traditional houses and, get this, history going back 7,000 years at the Salk Hills.
Yeah, Kashan offers maybe a slightly different feel, a bit more intimate, perhaps quieter than the big cities. You've got Fin Garden, another classic Persian garden, really beautiful, but also historically important things happen there. And these incredible 19th century merchant houses, like the Beauverdi and Tabatabai houses.
What are they like?
Exquisite. You see the amazing craftsmanship, the clever designs for the climate, how wealthy families lived back then. It's a real glimpse into that era.
Right.
And then Sial Kills connects you way, way back. Archaeological digs show it was one of the earliest settlements in the whole region.
Yeah.
So Kashan gives you both that grander recent history and these super deep ancient roots.
Moving northwest now to Tabriz, city of rugs apparently. And another UNESCO site, it's bizarre, one of the oldest in the Middle East.
Yeah, Tabriz is really important, especially historically. It was a major spot on the Silk Road, which is why it's famous for trade and crafts, especially carpets.
Ah, the Silk Road connection.
Exactly. So that Tabriz historic bazaar complex UNESCO listed, running for centuries. It's not just a market. It's like a living museum of commerce and social life. All these curved alleys, courtyards, workshops. It's been the economic heart for ages.
Must be amazing to walk through.
I'd imagine so. Then there's the Blue Mosque. It's had some damage over the years, but the tile work that remains is apparently breathtaking. That's where it gets its nickname, Turquoise of Islam.
Beautiful.
And for something more modern, El Goli Park offers a bit of green space, a lake. Tabriz definitely has its own distinct feel, that connection to trade routes, and yeah, the art of the Persian rug is just part of its DNA.
Okay, and for a total change of scene, the source mentions Kish Island, Iran's tropical escape. Beaches, diving, and it's a free trade zone. That sounds interesting, maybe easier visa-wise for some?
Yeah, Kish is definitely the outlier, the contrast. Being a free trade zone means different rules apply there. So yes, as the source suggests, visa requirements might be simpler for some nationalities, making it an easier entry point perhaps.
So what's the main draw?
It's mostly about recreation. Coral beaches for relaxing, clear water for diving, and water sports. Shopping malls, too, for a different kind of experience. There's also this ancient underground city, Shiraz, which is kind of cool. A reminder that even on this modern resort island, there's history buried underneath. But yeah, it offers a very different slice of Iran, much more leisure-focused.
This paints such a clear picture of just how diverse Iran is, incredible range. Now, the source also gets practical, talking about planning. It mentions FlightNHotels.com as a useful tool. Why would an all-in-one platform like that be helpful for Iran?
Right, shifting to the how-to. Because, let's face it, planning is a big part of it. A site like FlightNHotels.com just simplifies things hugely, doesn't it?
Yeah, having it all in one place.
Exactly. It has global reach, so accessible from anywhere. It talks about affordability, which is always good. And being all-in-one flights, hotels, car rentals, it just streamlines what can be a pretty complicated process, especially for international trips.
Less hassle.
For sure. Knowing you can see real-time availability and that they work with trusted partners gives you confidence. Makes it easier to compare options, book hotels in places like Tehran, Shiraz, Isfahan, Yazd, book flights into the main airports like Ikea in Tehran or SYZ in Shiraz. Even sort out a car if you want to explore more independently.
Makes sense. And of course, you can't talk travel without talking food. Iranian cuisine sounds amazing. Flavorful journey is how the source puts it. What are some highlights we should know about?
Oh, yeah. The food section sounds delicious. It highlights that mix of herbs, saffron, fruit, nuts, spices. Very aromatic. Chulo kebab is the big one, maybe the national dish. You have to try it. Sounds simple, but apparently it's incredibly satisfying.
Kebab.
And pheasantjan, that's a rich stew. Walnuts and pomegranate molasses. Sounds really unique. Tangy. Gourmet sabzi, another classic stew. Loads of herbs, beans, lamb. Very flavorful.
That sounds hearty.
Definitely. And tadig. Everyone raves about tadig, that crispy golden rice from the bottom of the pot. It's like a delicacy.
Oh, I've heard of that. Crispy rice. Yes, please.
Exactly. Then ash reshte, a thick noodle soup with beans and herbs. Sounds really comforting. And for sweets, baklava, sohan, you'll find them in the bazaars. It really is a cuisine that hits all the senses.
My mouth is watering already. Okay, beyond the sights and food, culture and etiquette are so important, right? Being a respectful traveler. What tips does our source give?
Absolutely crucial. Being mindful shows respect, makes the whole trip better. The source mentions dressing modestly, especially for women in public. That's important to know. Just respecting local norms.
Standard advice for many places?
Pretty much. And practical stuff. The currency is the Iranian rial, and importantly, international credit cards generally don't work. So you need to plan for using cash, local currency.
Good tip. Very practical.
Definitely. It also circles back to that Iranian hospitality, reinforces how welcoming people generally are. And it mentions that Iran is generally considered safe for tourists, which is good to address potential worries.
Okay. And finally, timing. When's the best time to go? It sounds like the climate could be quite varied.
Yeah, that's a key planning point.
Yeah.
Iran's huge, diverse geography means varied climates. The source really points to spring, March to May is a great time.
Yeah.
Weather's generally pleasant across most places.
Okay.
Plus, that's when Nowruz happens, the Persian New Year. Big celebrations, culturally very rich. Autumn, September to November is the other recommendation.
Wow.
Milder temperatures, maybe fewer crowds than spring.
Shoulder seasons, basically.
Exactly. Those times usually offer the best balance for seeing most of the country comfortably.
So, wrapping this all up,
Okay.
it really does sound like Iran offers this incredibly rich, layered experience. You've got millennia of history, vibrant culture, amazing nature, and that famous hospitality.
That's the core message, I think.
And it's good to know that, based on our source anyway, planning it might be getting easier with tools available online.
Precisely. The big takeaway is just the sheer breadth and depth. Whether you're into ancient ruins, stunning mosques, buzzing bazaars, or even beaches and mountains, Iran seems to have something. And yeah, the fact that planning platforms like the one mentioned exist definitely makes a destination like this feel more reachable for people who are curious and adventurous.
This has been really fascinating. It definitely makes you think. With all these different facets we've touched on, the poetry of Shiraz, the power of Persepolis, the cleverness of Yazd's wind catchers, the tastes of the food, what specific part, resonates most with you, our listener? Maybe that's the thread to pull on if you want to explore this captivating country even further.